Pokémon is a video game series that was released in 1998 with Pokémon Red and Blue, originally called Pocket Monsters in Japan.
Get the fuck out of here! We don't need this! We don't need a history lesson on the Pokemon franchise every Pokemon related video, okay? We know what Pokemon is, okay? Everybody knows. I mostly play the main series Pokemon games, obviously. And I almost never play the spin-off Pokemon games. I played Pokemon Go, obviously, and I've played some of Pokemon Ranger when I was a kid, but I only remember them from that one episode of the anime, and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon wasn't really in my interests. I was going to talk about Legends Arceus in this video, but it turns out that's a main series game, so I'm going to save it for another day. So 2 years ago, I did make a video about Pokemon Battle Revolution, another Pokemon spin-off. That video sucks, don't watch it. Pokemon Battle Revolution is a Gen 4 battle simulator. And that's it. It's a game where you only point the Wii remote at the screen for hours. Do you want one muscly arm? Because that's what you're going to get with this game. There's no exploration even though Colosseum and XD exist on the GameCube already. And they're playable on the Wii, so why do we have to navigate through menus until our arm goes numb? The only redeeming quality is that you can move your own Pokemon from the Gen 4 Pokemon games, but Pokemon Stadium already did that, but the battling is just boring. And I end up falling asleep every time I try to play it. It was fun when I was a kid and I played it a lot, but now it's only good as a shelf piece. This next one isn't really a game per se, but Pokédex 3DS Pro is straight up a Gen 5 Pokédex, like legit.
You now have the ability to view over 640 Pokémon in beautiful 3D graphics.
Pokédex toys did exist at the time, but they were made by companies like Tiger Electronics, so they weren't exactly detailed. Yeah, nowadays we have free iPhone Pokédex apps, Bulbapedia, or books if you're a nerd. But yeah, this is a legit Pokédex made by Nintendo and Game Freak. Only for Gens 1 through 5 though. There's only 647 in total Pokédex entries, and that's including alternate forms if the Pokemon has them. Including all of the unknown forms.
Unknown C! Unknown D! Unknown E! Unknown F! Unknown G!
And this was an era of Pokemon where they didn't serve everyone up 5 courses of DLC stew, so there was no Pokemon past Gen 5. And yeah, to be honest, I wasn't expecting there to be DLC anyway, because this was right after the Wii and DSi eras. A time where updates and patches and everything to do were not a thing, because the games were practically finished, and the mystery gifts were built into the games anyway. So we didn't need a million updates to make the game perform as well as I do in bed. If they wanted to do another Pokédex app featuring the Gen 6 Pokemon, they would have just copied and pasted the original models and charged another $15 for another pointless app that's already programmed into the game. With no updates. Like, these games also didn't really have DLC either. I know that's a hypothetical situation, but for example, the Smash Brothers DLCs being made free in the next game, it doesn't give me hope for what Nintendo would have done for this. But anyway, since it's a Pokédex, it has a voice. And that voice being Mark Thompson, who has been part of the Pokemon series since the Johto arc of the original anime. And he's obviously the voice of the Unova Pokédex in the anime.
Zebstrika, the Thunderbolt Pokemon, and the evolved form of Blitzel.
Samurott, the formidable Pokemon, and the final evolved form of Oshawott. Simipour, the geyser Pokemon, and the evolved form of Panpour.
Drillbur, Conkeldurr, Dimple.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Unfortunately, he doesn't read the entry like in the anime, so it kinda sucks. 0 out of 10. You can also change the languages very easily in the settings, so you can learn how to pronounce Pokemon names in German if you want.
Ku Incognito, Golking, Pantimos.
I mean, I did say earlier that it wasn't a game, but that's not entirely true. There's Pokemon Challenge. It's just various Pokemon multiple choice questions like, who's this Pokemon? Who's this Pokemon but Pokédex entries? And guess the unknown forms. It is actually really fun at times and does test your Pokemon knowledge. There's also a whole Gen 5 move dex, as well as a list of every Pokemon that can know said move. AR Viewer is exactly like the AR cards that came with every 3DS, but with Pokemon instead. Scan one of the codes and it spawns a really small 3D model, and it's kind of garbage. I bought this right before the eShop closed. So yeah, you can't actually buy this anymore. And I'm glad I own a piece of Pokemon history though. We're all just a bunch of suckers, aren't we? But where did that suckage start? Pokemania was all the rage in the 90s. You couldn't escape it. People didn't know what to make of Pokemon back then. It was out of control.
It's Pokemania everywhere, from Burger King to the king of internet retailing.
If you guys don't know what Pokemon is, you're in need of some serious remedial toy education.
Looking back at these news reports and B-roll footage of people back in 1999, they really had no idea how big this actually was going to be.
This could be this year's Christmas boom.
But some experts say the entire Pokemon phenomenon is the enemy.
In my opinion, parents should not let their kids watch Pokemon, play Pokemon, buy Pokemon cards.
And even parents were put in front of cameras and asked to explain what Pokemon was and had absolutely no idea.
Can you explain Pokemon to me?
Very vaguely. They have power balls, that's all I know.
If it sounds like the kids are speaking another language, they are. The language of Pokemon.
Pocket Monster. The spiral. And it stands for what? Male fertility.
But these parents are actually pretty cool.
Christina Levy spent $1,000 last month on Pokemon. Her kids call her Pokemom.
It's a really social game, socially interacts with all the kids in the neighborhood. So as opposed to sitting in front of a television watching cartoons, he's interacting with kids. So I really am a fan of the game.
And schools were just banning Pokemon cards because they thought that this was the equivalent of spending your life savings at a Vegas craps table.
I don't have anything against them, I just don't want them to, distract us from what our job here is.
School officials are finding that Pokemon cards are responsible for fistfights.
Oh, okay, well that's actually a reason. But soon enough, a game was released that deleted the need to collect Pokemon cards physically. Pokemon Trading Card Game. The game. For the Game Boy.
Girls can play this. Why can't it be called Game Boy Girl?
This game solely exists as an excuse for parents so they don't have to spend thousands of their own dollars on cardboard rectangles and binders. And now that I'm an adult, that seems pretty smart actually. It's actually a free-roaming 8-bit style game, sort of like Red and Blue, but the walking animation stops halfway through. And since it's sort of a spin-off, it's not as well made. They didn't really put as much oomph into this one as they would a main series game. But it has an 8-badge system while you actively run into your rival that's always one step ahead of you. Then you go and beat a Pokémon League at the end. Yeah, it's the same formula technically as the games that it's spinning off, but instead of catching Pokémon and using them in turn-based battles, you play the actual Pokemon trading card game. And it actively teaches you how to play the most basic form of the Pokemon TCG from the first generation. It tells you what you can and can't play so you can't cheat. You can actually go in any order of the gym that you want with things that you have to do before you can challenge the gym sometimes, like having to beat 3 other NPCs in order for them to dox the location of the gym leader. And after you beat an NPC, you're actually rewarded with packs of cards from sets of the time. There's base set, jungle, and fossil expansions all within the game. And I'm definitely going to keep playing this one. Since it's on the Switch now, I can finally finish it on my own time. And I recommend it if you want to learn how to actually play the game for yourself. And yes, I have unopened packs of cards, okay?
Here's my Obsidian Flames pack. Let's see, this has been in my collection for a while. I know it's one of the newer sets, but it has been in here for a while. I haven't really thought about opening it until a Pokemon related video. Since I don't really use these, here you go. There you go, you're welcome. Ooh, Smoliv, Pidgey, Combi, Varoom. Is that a vacuum cleaner? I don't know. Skarmory. Ooh, Espeon. Pretty cute. Sharpedo. Seismitoad. Bonsly. Gita. Okay. Nothing really interesting in there. Guess it's the Gita Reverse Hollow, but worst champion ever.
Do you like to brush your teeth? Well, you can do that but with Pikachu.
Make daily toothbrushing time more fun with Pokémon Smile.
Pokémon Smile is a toothbrushing game. Tool? Government face copier? That makes your children want to brush their teeth every night before they piss the bed. When this was first announced in a Nintendo Direct a couple years ago, I was more confused than anything. Kids nowadays can't even brush their teeth without Pokemon being involved, and yeah, it works. Yes, I know it's made for children. But it's also made for me, okay? It uses the front-facing camera to actually track your toothbrush as you brush the indicated parts of your mouth, causing your Pokemon to attack the purple goo invading your gums. Looks like grape jelly. And at the end, you get to catch the Pokemon that you saved from the cavity-causing purple jelly. Weirdest thing I've said today. You basically fill up a Pokédex entry every time you brush your teeth, but only Gen 1 Pokemon though, because of course it is. I know a 23-year-old adult shouldn't be playing this, who can just set a timer instead of using an app made for children. But fuck you, it's way better to see yourself with a Charmander hat on than it is to stare at your ugly face in the mirror.
Okay, so Pokemon Smile is kind of weird. I love the chibi, art style. It doesn't allow you to, spit, at any time during the brushing. Which, you do get a lot of saliva in your mouth when you brush your teeth. And then it, gets angry with you when you leave the camera to go spit. Okay, I have to preload my toothbrush with everything before, because it doesn't even give you time. It gives you 5 seconds to prepare, okay?
It makes brushing your teeth fun, and I have no problem with that. Even if you're a smelly old adult destined to never have any children of their own. You guys remember Pixelmon? You know, the Minecraft mod? No, not that one. Yes, that one, yes. The old version that made all the Pokemon blocks. That is what this game reminds me of. Pokémon Quest was technically the first Pokemon game ever on the Nintendo Switch, but it's a completely free game with a blocky art style. Your player heads for Tumble Cube Island to find some hidden treasure from a long-dead civilization. We're off to go do some grave robbing while befriending some blocky Pokemon. Sounds like fun. The game is okay. For a free game, I didn't expect much, but it's pretty fun, I guess. Again, these kinds of games aren't really for me. Go quest to quest, beating waves of wild Pokemon, then you have to fight a boss Pokemon. That's it. There's skill trees for your different friend Pokemon, so it's a bit of strategy and planning. You can use this pot to make various soups to attract more Pokemon to your camp. And you get decorations to increase various status effects like EXP. But you don't exactly need to play it at all. Besides operating the menus, it can basically play itself. You can just set it to autoplay and you can continue doing your laundry. This is another Pokemon app, but made for sleeping. Pokemon Sleep is obviously a sleep tracker. Depending on your tossing and turning throughout the night, it gives you a score ranging from dozing, snoozing, or slumbering. For it to start tracking though, sleep has to be at least 90 minutes long before research is even counted. And you only have 2 sleep sessions per day. How they track this information is a little sketchy though. You have to keep the phone on all night while connected to the charger on your bed next to your head. A combination that increases your risk of a fire.
I'm just trying to understand what it says here. How did you die? I used Pokemon Sleep.
Thankfully, my phone doesn't get very hot while it's running this, but some of you out there have some really shitty phones, so I don't really recommend downloading this at all. And this game is also targeted to children. Maybe we shouldn't put fire hazards next to our children's heads as they sleep. And while it's collecting all of this information, it's also recording all of the sounds around it. That does include fans, by the way. It will constantly just record the fan noises if you do have one next to your head, which I know a lot of people do, including me in the summer, which is when I recorded some of this footage. And just like Pokemon Smile, every time you sleep, you collect Pokédex entries. It is fun to see what Pokemon you get in the morning depending on the sleep score, but I haven't really used it in a while, and I don't think I'll continue using it because it's really not safe to use, and it's not really for me. This last one is weird. Pokemon Puzzle League is just an ugly game. It's the only other game that I've played at least that's based off the Pokemon anime. The other one being Pokemon Yellow. And I'm sorry, I just don't enjoy playing it. To be honest, when it boots up, it looks like a ROM hack or a cheaply made Flash game. Y8.com, anyone? It starts with an animated cutscene with Ash getting a Zoom call from Professor Oak telling him that he was selected as one of the challengers in the Pokémon Puzzle League. Then Ash says,
You are selected as one of the challengers.
I'll go sign up.
Ash, you don't need to. Oak already did that. That's why he's calling you. Then we're finally off to the Pokémon Puzzle League village. Weird name for a town that's named after the game that's most popular in it. Pokémon Puzzle League is sort of like Tetris Attack, where you gotta match rows of the same Pokémon type together. My brain just can't process it very well. If you like it, good on you, but I feel like I need to turn the video games off now after playing that and go out and, I don't know, touch some grass. I don't know. I mean, I would touch grass. Bit snowy.